Now on the CTV News at 5. New year, new boost for local business.
Usually the first 2 weeks is our biggest rush.
How resolutioners are contributing to Lethbridge's local economy. Plus, a look back on the year that was for fire and emergency crews.
We were able to move forward a lot of big initiatives.
How Lethbridge first responders plan to make an impact. And welcoming new life into the world. The first Alberta babies are born into 2026.
Telling your stories. CTV News Lethbridge
with Mark Villani.
Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news. One person is dead after falling through ice about 150 kilometers east of Lethbridge. The incident happened just before 10 p.m. last night when crews were called to Rattlesnake Lake just north of Bow Island. Firefighters located the person who appeared to have fallen through while walking along the area. Bow Island Emergency Services is sending its condolences, but reminding the public to stay cautious as river ice can be unpredictable with temperatures changing. Well, if you've stepped outside today in Lethbridge, you might notice it can be a bit hard to see out there. A fog advisory remains in effect for much of southern Alberta, which includes Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Brooks, and Taber. The conditions did improve a little bit this afternoon, but Environment Canada says the fog is expected to continue tonight and until Saturday afternoon. There's also a risk of freezing dribble, so drivers are advised to be aware of their surroundings, make sure your lights are on with low visibility, and drive to the conditions. The new year means plenty of people will be starting out their New Year's resolutions. For many, that means getting back into the gym. It's the busiest time of the year for Cut Fitness and many other local gyms. Last year, Cut Fitness saw a 40% boost in new registrations in just the first 2 weeks following New Year's. Staff are doing what they can to get the new gym users started on the right foot. They're offering personal trainers and showing new members the ropes.
Usually the first 2 weeks is our biggest rush where people come to sign up because they all believe in New Year, New You, and our membership base definitely increases in the first 2 weeks of January every year. It's our favorite time.
Regular gym users may need to wait a while before getting back to normal. Cut Fitness says it takes about 2 months for the New Year's rush to fully die down. Residential and commercial property owners in Lethbridge are set to receive a much-anticipated annual notice. The city says it sent out property assessment notices through the mail today. If you have not received yours by January 19th, you're asked to call 311 to get your copy. Property owners can also review and reprint their assessment notices by registering online through the My City option at lethbridge.ca. The city says if you've already signed up to receive those notices by email, you should have those in your account soon. Anybody not satisfied with their assessed value can also file a formal complaint prior to the 60-day appeal deadline. Danielle is in with weather now, and hopefully the sun starts to come out this weekend.
Yeah, we will have lots of sun. We do have lots of sun in the forecast, but we have to get through this foggy part first. It's foggy out there in many communities right now, and it will get more dense as we go through the evening hours, overnight and through tomorrow morning, and that's why the advisory is in place. It is hard to see with this little white line here, but basically Lethbridge over to Taber and down to Coots, and then of course up through Calgary towards Red Deer. The key thing though is that even outside of this area, it will still be foggy. It will just be a little more dense in these communities. So expect reduced visibility as you head out for the next 12 to 18 hours. Then that improves by late tomorrow morning, 59 kilometers per hour. That was the only wind gust that registered in the far south for today. And because we don't have that strong wind out of the west, temperatures have been colder as well. -12 is the temperature in Brooks, -10 in Medicine Hat, -6 in Lethbridge. Your full forecast coming up, Mark.
Thanks, Danielle. The province's new environment minister has been sworn in. Taber-Warner MLA Grant Hunter is taking over the position following Rebecca Schultz's resignation. Schultz will continue to serve as an MLA for Calgary-Shaw until May. She's one of 24 UCP MLAs facing recall petitions. In her resignation letter, Schultz said it was time for her to seek new opportunities in her career.
His constituents of Tabor-Warner will have benefited from his wisdom and dedication now for many years, and he will bring that same perspective to his new role as Minister of Environment and Protected Areas.
Cypress Medicine Hat MLA Justin Wright will also take over as Chief Government Whip for the United Conservatives. Well, former Medicine Hat City Manager Ann Mitchell is taking on a new role as Chief Administrative Officer for Lac St. Anne County. It comes as Mitchell is now suing Medicine Hat Mayor Lindsay Clark for defamation and contract interference in the amount of $979,000, claiming damage to her reputation. She's also suing the city of Medicine Hat for $465,000 for both pay in lieu of notice and aggravated damage. Mitchell was terminated with cause as Medicine Hat's city manager back in October and found to be in violation of a respectful workplace policy. She had been in that role since February of 2023. It was a busy year of growth for Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services with the implementation of several new initiatives and programs. The department is now looking to bolster its delivery of the service to the community. Carson Marsouk spoke with the fire chief about last year and what lies ahead for 2026.
From grass fires to medical emergencies, 2025 proved to be a busy year for Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services.
2025 was a very exciting year for Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services. We were able to move forward a lot of big initiatives, able to accomplish a lot of projects, and basically move our department forward.
Positive growth, the fire chief says, is needed to meet an increase in demand.
From an EMS perspective, we saw a decline in our EMS calls from about 29,000 to 27,000 calls. However, the severity of these calls remained significant. Our fire calls were down about 3%, but our fire prevention and investigation department increased their investigations in 2025 to 57. Our Public Safety Communications Center, otherwise known as our PSCC, handled about 160,000 calls last year, which was on par with the previous year.
Top of the accomplishment list for the fire chief was a new collective agreement with the Firefighters Union, including the new addition of an EMS division focused solely on medical.
A tactical EMS team was introduced and able to respond to high incident events within the city. A joint operation with CPKC to remove the dangerous rope springs from their bridge occurred to enhance water safety. We enhanced our cardiac preparedness in our schools and recreational facilities, and we increased safety awareness on lithium-ion batteries. We increased our wildland fire response capabilities through the addition of a wildland sprinkler trailer and wildland urban interface training. Our EMS supervisor positions were approved and will be introduced into our department in 2026.
Other initiatives the chief is proud of include bolstering services to the community, both in fire and medical.
Very exciting time for our department as we continue to move forward. We will see significant change in our department. We will continue to remain an integrated fire EMS service. Now with the addition of an EMS division within Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Service, this change is very exciting. We will now have the opportunity to have individuals join our department who only want to do EMS work or work on the ambulance. And we will continue with our traditional integrated model for those individuals who want to be EMS providers and firefighters.
Planning to relocate Station 3 is underway and a 10-year master plan will be finalized this year. LFES will enter a new collective bargaining with the firefighter union, and bargaining with Alberta Health Services for a new EMS contract will begin this year.
I'm most looking forward to this new change, this new EMS integrated operational model, and how we work through what that looks like and how we optimize that system going forward.
Carson Marsouk, CTV News, Lethbridge.
LFES says recruitment for paramedics to fill its new divisions are now open. Well, a third of temporary foreign workers hired in Canada fall under the agricultural stream, but new federal rules have some Alberta farmers worried about the potential impact on their business. Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports.
It It takes a lot more than these busy bees to produce nearly 600,000 kilograms of honey a year. Nixon Honey Farms has been relying on the help of temporary foreign workers since 1998.
And we were quite smaller at that time, running less hives, and we started with just one worker and eventually 2 workers.
The farm now employs 18 seasonal and temporary foreign workers. In September, Ottawa announced it would reduce the number of temporary foreign workers allowed into Canada to 230,000 in 2026, down from 368,000 this year. The measures were introduced due to recent high employment. Like many Alberta farmers, Nixon says he's tried to hire Canadians without much success.
It's hard manual labor, and we're lifting a lot of boxes, we're working in the heat. It's just one of these jobs in agriculture that we can't seem to attract a stable Canadian workforce.
And speaking with a lot of beekeepers, they don't want to get stung on the job, and kids don't want to work that hard 12 hours a day.
In response to the cuts, the Alberta Federation of Agriculture outlined a series of recommendations for the federal government to help farmers. The Federation says producers were anxious when they heard the program could impact how many temporary foreign workers they hire.
We have some of the most productive producers in all the world. And they simply want to have access to the people and the tools to make sure they have the best outcome possible.
Employment and Social Development Canada says temporary foreign workers account for 1% of Canada's workforce. Last year, more than a third of those workers were in agriculture. While Nixon says his farm is still operating as usual for now, he's worried about potential cuts.
I honestly don't know what we would do. Possibly looking at selling part of the business or downsizing.
The AFA says if farmers need to pay more for labor, that cost will trickle down to your dinner plate.
Or we're not going to have enough product, which means, less selection or less availability at the grocery store.
Employment and Social Development Canada didn't say how many agriculture positions would be reduced in the temporary foreign programs. It says it generally exempts the measures in agriculture and food processing. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
Still ahead, what to be aware of when purchasing a pacifier for your baby. Why making the right choice could make all the difference. That story coming up in Medical Watch.
All right, here's your Skywatch weather camera. Look how beautiful it looks, and interesting for sure. You have some brown grass and then white trees, and the roads, well, at this point, the roads are dry. We are looking at freezing drizzle for tonight, and again, the fog, which could make things a little slick as well. So keep that in mind as we go through these next 12 hours. Here's a look at the advisory in place, although it is quite hard to see on this map, unfortunately. But basically, Lethbridge, you can see this yellow line that highlights all the areas under the advisory. So Lethbridge over to, well, almost Brooks, and then down through Milk River, Coots area, and then as you can see up as well. These are the areas where we're looking at the most dense fog. Outside of this, we will still have fog patches. So you can just really look at the fact that if you are driving tonight, throughout the evening hours tonight and through tomorrow morning, you'll have to contend with some fog patches out there and some freezing drizzle as well. All right, let's check out the wind gusts once again, because what I want to show you is we had no gusts today. The winds were calm. The only place we had some gusts out of the west, so more of that Chinook type pattern, Pincher Creek, where it was 60 kilometers per hour almost. And that reflects in the temperature, as you can see here. So 5 degrees is the temperature at the moment in Pincher Creek, and everywhere else off to the east is below freezing. So -6 is the temperature in Lethbridge, -4 in Milk River, and -10 in Medicine Hat, -12 in Brooks. All right, let's look at the conditions here. Not a whole lot to talk about at the moment. We do have some cloud cover. We'll have those fog patches start to build in the early evening hours, and it's already foggy in some spots already. When I fast forward this, we'll talk about the freezing drizzle. So the fog, as we dip below freezing, will become more of that freezing fog, and that can make things a little slick out there. And we're also going to add some freezing drizzle to that too. So as I advance this, you can see that little pocket here that will start to develop outside of the Lethbridge area, likely creeping into Lethbridge and then tracking off to the east. So Medicine Hat may even see some of this as well. Again, that will make things a little slick. So this is a look at tomorrow morning. It won't be an intense day and it won't be a lot of it, but we are looking at light pockets of this, which is why it's just mainly drizzle for tomorrow. So other than that, not eventful. Yes, the fog patches reduce visibility, some freezing drizzle to add to that. If you just expect some slick road conditions in some spots, then outside of that, we're looking at fairly quiet weather. You can see this pocket that develops Sunday morning, basically north of the Trans-Canada Highway, north of Brooks, and that is quite light in nature and a quick mover as well. Outside of that, not a whole lot to talk about for the weekend. Temperatures will start to climb as well. -3 overnight in the East Kootenay area, 2 centimeters of snow, kicking off Saturday with some flurries and then switching over to some raindrops in the afternoon and a high of 2. Gusts around 50 kilometers per hour for Crow's Nest Pass for tonight and through tomorrow. A high of 2 expected for the day tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies. Freezing drizzle and fog, Medicine Hat tonight and tomorrow later in the day as well. -19 as the wind chill in the morning hours with freezing drizzle possible in the morning and early afternoon. Lethbridge, freezing drizzle possible, fog patches, -4 is our high. In the morning, it will feel like -20 with the wind chill. In the afternoon, -10. And our daytime high will get above freezing by Monday.
For many parents, pacifiers are a baby essential, helping their little ones stay calm and sleep better. But have you ever wondered how safe they are? Experts say there are some types on the market you shouldn't buy. Pat Foran explains.
Pacifiers are a staple for new parents, soothing babies through tears, sleep, and even doctor visits. They can also help reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. But how safe are they? Since 2014, the Consumer Product Safety Commission received 178 reports involving pacifiers, including 1 death and cases of choking, biting off pieces, and getting fingers stuck in small holes. Consumer Reports tested 20 pacifiers for choking hazards, harmful chemicals, and durability. Most performed well, but a few raised red flags for risky attachments or confusing labels.
Unsafe pacifiers do make it into the marketplace.
Testers found questionable pacifiers online, from glittery, blinged-out models with rhinestones, which could be a potential safety risk, to second-hand or vintage ones that don't meet safety standards.
That's why it gets tricky when shopping online, especially through third-party sellers. Some of those products may not have gone through proper safety testing.
When shopping on sites like Amazon, Walmart, or Temu that allow third-party sellers, it's recommended to go with trusted brands and to check that listings confirm safety testing. But it's not just an issue online. Researchers found a pacifier at a local store missing the required safety warning. A reminder to be careful whenever you shop for baby products. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Good news for users of Ozempic. As of next week, Canadian companies in Canada can start making generic versions of the weight loss drug, but that doesn't mean it will be on the shelves right away. As of December 29th, 9 companies have applied to Health Canada to make semaglutide, the active ingredient in Ozempic, and Wegovy. Generic versions of the drug could be as much as 35% lower than the brand names. The target timelines for the release is late spring or early summer. Team Canada is hoping to stay undefeated at the World Juniors. It's a do-or-die matchup tonight in the quarterfinals against Slovakia. That story coming up in sports. The Lethbridge Hurricanes are back on the ice at home tonight, hoping to open up the new year with a win and get back on track following a 3-game losing skid. The Canes will take on the Swift Current Broncos, who sit in the basement of the Eastern Conference. It marks the second of 4 meetings between both clubs this year, with Lethbridge losing the first contest. Puck drop tonight and on Saturday is set for 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, the Medicine Hat Tigers are still red hot. The team hasn't lost since mid-November, and it's on a 13-game winning streak. Tonight they take on the Moose Jaw Warriors at home. It's the third of 4 matchups between the two teams. Medicine Hat won the previous 2 contests, both in overtime. Over to the British Columbia Hockey League now, and the Brooks Bandits are looking to open up the second half of their season on a high note. The Bandits will have their hands full, though. They're taking on the second-best team in the league, the West Kelowna Warriors, tomorrow night. Brooks lost the previous 2 meetings against them by scores of 5-3 and 3-1. Puck drop on Saturday, set for 7 p.m. at the Centennial Regional Arena. And finally, the Cranbrook Bucks are also on the ice tonight. They're in Trail to take on the Smoke Eaters. The Bucks previously beat Trail 7-4 in their last meeting on New Year's Eve. The game is set for 7 o'clock tonight at the Cominco Arena. Canada will take on Slovakia in the quarterfinals at the International Ice Hockey Federation's World Junior Championships in Minnesota today.
Porter Marteau puts it back across, break in, shoot, scores!
Canada completed the preliminary round undefeated after a 7-4 win over Finland on Wednesday night. Slovakia wrapped up that round with a 3-2 loss to Switzerland. The last time Canada met Slovakia at the World Juniors was in 2023 during the quarterfinals, winning 4-3 in overtime. Puck drop for tonight's game is at 6:30 p.m., and you can catch all the action on TSN. The NHL's annual Winter Classic goes today, and this year there's a twist. The outdoor game is being played at the home of the Miami Marlins in Florida. The Florida Panthers are hosting the New York Rangers, and the Panthers posted this video of center Evan Rodriguez with his family getting a tour of the ice. It's possible thanks to custom refrigeration units and a lot of air conditioning in that building. The rink was prepared with the retractable stadium roof closed, but it will be opened for the game tonight. Over to the slopes now, and Lake Louise Ski Resort is entering the new year with record-breaking snow. By the end of December, 503 centimeters had fallen. It's the only time the hill has surpassed the 500 centimeters threshold this early in the season. All 13 lifts are in operation and nearly every run is open.
The energy around here it's electric. It's just everyone is so excited. Everyone's so stoked. The pictures coming out on social of people just getting absolutely pitted in powder. It's been incredibly exciting.
The snow means the new terrain on Richardson Ridge is open. That's 3 months earlier than anticipated. Coming up, it's a New Year's to remember for the parents of this child. We tell you about the first Albertans to be born in 2026. The first Alberta babies of the new year were born at the same time in Calgary and Edmonton. A boy was born at Edmonton's Grey Nuns Hospital at 12:03 a.m. on New Year's Day. Alberta Health Services says at the same moment, baby boy Theodore was born to parents Sarah and Sebastian Stewart at the South Health campus. Theodore weighing in at 8 pounds and 6 ounces. AHS is offering congratulations to all families who welcomed new additions on the first day of 2026. A wonderful start to the new year for those families. Well, thank you very much for joining us. That's all the time we have for this edition of the CTV Lethbridge News. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.